Hello, everybody. It's Peter here from AJS, also representing G and A Warburtons in New Zealand. And it's once again my pleasure to take you into a jeweller's workshop somewhere in Australasia. And this week we're going to Tasmania and the sunny town of Hobart and the even sunnier Kirra-lea Cairns. Welcome along, Kirra-lea.
Hello.
Great to have you back, Kirra-lea.
Great to be back.
Now, today, our presentation is called Making Memories, which is fantastic. We're going to tell some stories about some pieces of jewellery you've made in the past. But before we do that, I've got a little surprise.
Oh, for everyone or for me?
Well, everyone, really. But in particular you. Because, Kirra-lea, this is your 20th episode of being an online presenter with AJS.
20.
Yeah. So when you talk about making memories, you've helped make a lot of memories with AJS, and they're on our Facebook page, on our YouTube channel, and on our website for people to enjoy now and in the future. So to celebrate the 20th edition, whoops, can you see it? Here we go.
Oh,
we've got a 20 cake.
That's so cool. Oh, wow. Yeah. That's awesome.
It is awesome. Yes. Now, the fact that you're in Hobart, and I'm in Brisbane creates a little issue, but I am going to post it to you.
You're going to post me the cake?
Yeah, just be aware.
Or just the topper.
Just be aware that Australia Post isn't as good as it used to be, and a lot of times things do get lost in the post. So
okay. Oh, yeah. I see. I may never get the cake.
Well, we'll give it our best shot. Yeah. But just put it this way, I am looking forward to morning tea.
I bet.
I'll send you a picture.
Yes, please do. Send me a picture of you guys enjoying the cake.
Indeed.
That's so cool.
So, Kirra-lea, that's just to say thank you for everything you've done for our online viewers and supporting AJS and helping to bring these presentations to life. So,
no, thank you for keep having me back. It's a pleasure to continue. I guess collaborating with you guys. It works for me. It works for you.
That is good. And well, we're heading off on a new path today. Our presentation, as I mentioned, is called Making Memories. So it's remembering pieces that you've made in the past and the stories behind them. So yes. I have a little slideshow here. So let's see if we can get that up. Right, we've got that on the screen. Ripper.
Yeah. All right. Well.
Okay. So, Kirra-lea, what are we looking at?
Well, these are some sand cast relic style coins. I had a lady reach out to me. A lady I actually work with. I teach at Square Peg Studios, and Kim, who's one of the owners of Square Peg, who I deal with quite a lot. She reached out to me and asked me to make a very special pendant for her daughter's birthday. And I'm pretty sure her daughter was turning 30. So it was like a milestone birthday, and her daughter's a Virgo. So she wanted like an ancient looking coin made with a feminine form on it, because I think there's something to do with that with Virgo, with the feminine form. She sent me a bunch of inspirational images of the sort of thing that she was after, but my interpretation of it. So I have a whole heap of bits and pieces that I've been collecting over the years. So I was able to coin shape. So that's just a matter of layering these objects in the mold. So you make a mold of one part, and then you layer in, like, press the other parts in, like press the lady heads into the pendant shape, the round shape, and you just sort of layer it up until you get get something quite unique, but using a whole heap of pieces of found objects, essentially. So my first set of options for Kim were these 3 coins that I'd made up just as prototypes. She wanted the final piece to be made in 14 karat yellow gold. So I didn't want to just jump straight into working with gold. So I decided to do some silver prototypes first so that she could pick from them until we found the one that she wanted. So this was the first lineup, I guess you'd say, for her to have a look through and pick from.
Well, they're all great. I particularly like the one on the left, but I think they're all great. Yeah. So
yeah, well, actually, she quite liked the one on the left as well. So if we go to the next slide, it's the next version of what I did, because we also discussed that she thought they were too perfect looking and they needed to be older looking, and she wanted that that raised edge that coins get because they have the you know, that frame around them. Yeah. So because she wanted something a little bit more soft and aged, I have another object that I thought was appropriate to add in there, another little lady bust head. So I gave her another option again, as well as the beautiful lady on the left that she picked from the first lineup, just because yeah, this extra lady bust became more of an option once we realized that she wanted a bit more of an ancient look. And so I gave her...
I'll just go back to the original just to show that again. So that's where we started on the left.
So they were quite clean, I guess you'd say, and she wanted it a lot more rustic.
Yeah, I can see where she's coming from, and I think you've nailed it. Yeah.
Like she dug it up out of the ground, out of a tomb or something.
Yeah, no, I get that. Yeah.
So that was the second lineup I gave her, the second option. And she still went for the lady on the left. Yeah. Which is beautiful.
I'll go to the next slide.
I'm happy with that. Yeah, go to the next slide. And because Kim wanted to add a little blue rough sapphire in there, I laid the stone down in a whole heap of different positions on the little silver coin, so she'd get a good idea of where she'd want this stone. And she'd already picked this stone out of a lineup as well, so I gave her a bunch of different options, and this is the stone she picked, and I laid the stone in a whole heap of spots on this little lady coin, and this was the spot she ended up picking as well. So there's lots of back and forth that happens when we're making a custom piece, because it's a custom piece. The client gets to decide every aspect of the design, or they get consulted on every aspect. And particularly something as, I guess, as personal as this one. And she was chasing a vision that she couldn't quite get across with images or with drawings. So it was just a slow feeling out of the process. So lots of back and forth, but if we go to the next slide,
just before we do, Kirra-lea, the blue that's reflected here on various bits of the pendant,
it's reflected from the stone.
That's all it is. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that's all it is. Yeah.
Okay. Wow. Okay. Next slide. Here we go.
So because Kim was quite happy with the silver prototype and the position of the stone, then I used that silver prototype as a master, and I cast it in 14 karat yellow gold. And with the stone, it's a skin polished rough sapphire, or a tumbled polished rough sapphire from Queensland. I cast it in place, and because it's a sapphire, and if you've watched any of my other videos, you know that sapphires have the perfect characteristics to be cast in place. They are heat resistant and they're pressure resistant. So this little stone was cast in place, so I didn't have to fuss around with trying to set it by hand. So this is just me opening up the mold and taking a photo of it fresh off the casting block. I don't know, fresh off the bench. Easy.
Yeah, a great moment in time, because that's always
the best part.
Exciting time, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a little bit nerve-wracking as well. Like, oh God, did the stone break? Did it form properly? Because sometimes there's little air pockets and they don't form properly. But you know, you can usually do it all again. So this is the coin roughly cleaned up, but not properly cleaned up. So I've just cleaned off the sprue and cleaned up the edges a little bit, but it's not polished yet. It is just that sand cast rough finish. And I took a photo of it like that because I thought it looked kind of cool. But Kim did want it to have a more of a polished finish. So we'll pop to the next one if that's okay, Peter.
Cool, here we go.
And so, yep, this is it polished up and with that bail attached to it, which is just like an oval jump ring.
Mm-hmm.
And photos don't really do it justice because it turned out so beautiful. But when you just have a still image of it, you can't really see the details of the lady's face.
Yeah, the reflections and all that.
Yeah, the reflections are so contrasting once you get all that polish on it. But I think if we go to the next one, there's a pit. Yes, all right. So this is a pendant thing that I picked up over the years from, I think it was from, maybe it was from Apex, because they have a whole heap of in-house molds, and you can go there and look through all of the molds that they have and pick out what you want and get cast copies. And so at one point in time, I went in there and did that, and I bought this little what would you call her? A fairy, yeah. Now, Kim was over the moon with the pendant that I made for her, and she was going, oh, there was just something about that lady. She's just perfect. I don't know what it is, but I felt a connection with her. She's saying she loved the whole process. And she asked me, because she's quite familiar with how I sandcast, because I go in there and I teach a lot, and she's done one of my classes. So she was quite aware that I didn't just make the lady up out of nowhere, that I had a master. I had an image that I used to make the impression. And so she asked me what I used to make the lady. And so I sent her through this photo, and she sent back a message that was filled with a fair bit of swear words, but but turns out that for her 18th birthday, her mother had bought her the exact same pendant from somewhere in Sydney I think it was down, I don't know, some jeweler in Sydney. So on her 18th birthday, her mother had bought her this fairy pendant, but in gold. So if you go to the next slide, she then found it in her jewellery box and sent the picture to me. And she said she couldn't believe that this like beautiful connection that happened. She said for some reason she did feel connected with the image that I used, that lady that I used. She kept wanting that one out of all of the other ones. She didn't know why. It just felt right. And she couldn't believe that, it was the same thing. She's got the same one, and it's got that, her mother has passed away now. So she loves that it's got that generational connection, and she was able to pass that on to her daughter on her 30th birthday. So it's this, I just couldn't believe. It was just such a very incredible, beautiful, connective moment. What's that called? Holistic. It seemed quite holistic.
Yeah.
That I happen to have it's very similar. It's not quite exactly the same, but it's pretty much exactly the same. You know, the part that I used of this fairy is the same as her fairy. I think it's just amazing that I happen to have the same one so many years later. And it was just perfect. It was just the perfect thing for her daughter. And we did it not even knowing the deep connection that she had with it.
That is an amazing story.
Yeah. And if you go to the next slide, there's a photo of Kim and her daughter, Georgie, after she gave it to her. So she's wearing the pendant there. I know it's a little bit small and hard to see, but there's two happy, smiling mother and daughters with a very, very sentimental pendant.
Oh, wow. What a story.
It's so cool. It was just one of those amazing moments where I just could not believe it. We could not believe it. It's one of my favorite
that's
moments.
when you know it's meant to be, that's for sure. So, okay.
Yeah, and I mean, she had so many choices to pick something else because I gave her so many options.
Okay. Wow. Great story. Gee, you're going to go hard to top that one, Kirra-lea. You started at the top.
I started at the top. I know. The next one doesn't have as much of a deep connection like that, but it's still a wonderful piece. I'm really happy I made it. So this is going to be, as you can probably tell by the drawings, it's an ear cuff. So I had this lovely girl reach out to me. She worked with one of my friends, and one of my friends was wearing a pendant to work one day, and she goes, "Oh my God, it's amazing. Who made that?" And so she reached out to me because she really liked the pendant my friend was wearing, and she wanted an ear cuff made out of twigs and with a labradorite drop, so she could wear it for her wedding day because she wanted to be
Kirra-lea,
a
I've
little
never
bit
heard of
fairy.
it. I'm only a bloke, but I've never heard of an ear cuff. Are they very common or what?
They're not particularly common because everybody's ear anatomy is so different. So
Mm,
it's very hard to make a commercial mass-produced sort of ear climber or ear cuff design because it
yeah.
will not fit everyone's ears. Everyone's ears are so vastly different. You pretty much have to make them custom for the person who's got to wear it.
Mm,
So this girl is named Jo.
hmm.
And Jo, yeah, wanted a beautiful ear cuff for her wedding because she's a little bit of a fairy herself, a little bit of a garden witch. So it just fit in nicely, that she was going to have a little bit of nature wrapped around her ear. And I really dig that. I loved it. So I did a bunch of designs because I was so excited. And these are a bunch of my ideas of what we could do for her. So I think if we go to the next slide, we
Okay.
can see the design that she picked.
Can I have a go at what I like?
Yeah. Which one do you like?
Probably this one here.
Yeah, cool. I mean, I like them all, but I
Yeah,
also
of
do
course.
quite
Yeah,
quite
yeah,
like that one as well.
mm,
Yeah.
yeah. Anyway, let's see how we went.
So this was the design that she ended up picking out of the lot. And
Yeah.
usually, with most custom pieces, the initial design is not where it ends. It's
Mm,
normally just the starting point. This is the sort of style that she wanted, this sort of look, and then we would build on it from there. So because everybody's ears are so vastly different, I asked Jo to take a photograph of her ear and to send me the measurements of her ear so that I could print out an actual size of it. So I could make a piece that would roughly fit her anatomy just based off a photo. And then she was going to come in for a fitting. So if we go to the next slide,
hmm.
you'll be able to see I've got it lined up against her ear, so I can, against the photo of her ear, so I can make sure I'm getting my design to the right sort of size to accommodate her ear. And I think in the next slide, I start using bits of, so I've got angel hair vine that I've had investment cast. So it's like lost wax casting, but with organic pieces. They just incinerate just like the wax does as well. So it's called an organic burnout. So I'm using angel hair vine that I collected from the house I lived at because it was just so abundant and so beautiful and came in a variety of different gauges. So I had a whole heap of silver angel hair vines that I was then using to build this ear cuff. And I've cut out a little section of the photo so that I could get the vine to wrap around behind her ear because it will be pinned in her ear as a post down where her ear is pierced. So it's a
Okay.
stud down there, but then it wraps around the top of her lobe and is
Yeah.
able to, the weight of it's able to be held up there. So this was the stage I got it to before she needed to come in for a fitting because there's only so much you can do with a photo. I've got it to the right sort of proportions and the right sort of shape, but I needed her to come in because three-dimensional ears have a little bit more going on than just a piece of paper. So I did have her come in and do a bit of a fitting where I had to modify the way that it sat a little bit so that it was comfortable and so that it was beautiful. So I think in the next photo, it might be showing some modifications I've done. No, just another photo of it on the photo. Yep, there we go. So after she came in, we realized we wanted to add an extra curl to the top part that went over the ear because there's one curl that comes over the ear and wraps over the top of her, I guess her ear. And then we wanted another one that creeps up over the top. and adds a little bit more of an ethereal flair to it.
Okay.
And I and so we got this so that it was fitting, so that the stud part of it went through her piercing and the top part of it wrapped around her ear comfortably, and that there was no pressure anywhere, because she was going to be wearing it all day and it needed to be mega comfortable so that it wasn't causing any sorts of pressure or pain or headaches. So I got it to this stage, and I think then it was just a matter of adding on the labradorite drop, which is so beautiful, because when because it's hanging free, it would just sort of dangle around and catch the light, and it's got so much beautiful rainbow reflection, and it's a briolite cut, so it's all faceted as well, so it just has all that extra sparkle. I really loved working on this piece, and because there was so much back and forth with Jo designing it, and I did her husband's wedding band as well, and I did another little earring for her. It just sort of snowballed from there, and Jo and I have actually become really good friends, and we're still friends now. And this was about, I don't know, 6 years ago that I did this ear cuff for her.
Well, you know her ear very intimately.
I know her ear very well. I'd like to think I know a bit more about her than just her ear, but I do know her ear. But if we go to the next photo, I think it's her wearing it on her wedding day. And it just looks absolutely stunning. And I'm so glad that Jo reached out to me, because I mean, I make connections with all of my clients, because you have to, so that you're able to make the piece of jewelry for them with your full heart, with their full intentions, you know. But every now and then someone connects with you on a deeper level, on a, you know, like, I feel like I've known you for a long time sort of level. And that's how Jo and I connected. And I've had the privilege of making lots of jewelry for her over the years, because I guess she loves me too.
No, that's
and
great.
wants me to make her jewelry. And I feel so privileged that I got to meet her and make such a special piece for her and her wedding day. I haven't made an ear cuff for anyone else since, because it is such a big, long process of getting it just right. And it is such a showpiece that it's not something you can wear just every day. You've got to have a special event to wear that. So I understand not many people are reaching out to me for ear cuffs, but if you do, I'm more than happy to do it, because I think they're just absolutely stunning.
So what was the feedback on how it was? She had to wear that for the whole day, as you said. So the comfort factor, she got by okay?
I don't recall her saying she had to take it off. It has been about 6 years, so I can't really remember. Let's just say it was perfect and she kept it on all day.
Yeah.
But if she did for some reason have to take it off, that's totally fine.
She might even still be wearing it now.
Yeah, she might be. Yeah. But it's probably one of my favorite pieces I ever got to make. And not just because it's such a beautiful, unique piece I got to make, but because I had so much fun making it, and I made like a friend for life out of it as well.
Oh, that's wonderful. Now, Kirra-lea, there could be a little market for you to jazz up hearing aids.
Hearing aids, yeah.
Yeah, because hearing aids now
hide them.
well, you can't really see hearing aids now, but you could make it the other way. Let's have a hearing aid you can see and make it into a work of art. There you go.
I like that. That's very cool. Yeah.
Yeah. So, well, that's the end of our pieces for today. So I'll just bring you back.
I don't know if I talked long enough. I don't know how other people do it if they have heaps and heaps of stories.
No, well, they were two lovely stories, and I'm sure people will enjoy hearing those in the future. So thank you so much for that, Kirra-lea. Now, I've just got one thing to say to you.
Oh, the cake tastes really good, does it?
Yeah, bon appetit.
Amazing. That's so cool.
Yeah, so just keep an eye on your letterbox, Kirra-lea. You never know.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Now make sure to send it to my actual address, not my old home address.
Okay. We'll try and get that right. No
Yeah.
worries. Well, Kirra-lea, thank you so much for this morning. They were two lovely stories. Really appreciated learning about those pieces of art that you'd created and the story behind them. And we'll look forward to more again sometime real soon.
Yeah, yeah. Hopefully this is a segment that takes off and people really love it, and we get to hear more beautiful stories about, yeah, how some makers get to change people's lives with what they make.
Indeed. Yeah, thank you so much, Kirra-lea. We'll see you next time.
Thank you very much. See you, Peter.
Bye-bye.